Something just happened with the LA Chargers, and it's the kind of moment that can change a season. Not next week. Not next month. Right now. When a team gets embarrassed on national TV, you expect reactions. But no one expected this level of chaos. And trust me, you're going to want to hear every detail. The LA Chargers didn't walk off the field after that loss, they stumbled into it, frustrated, stunned, and already making decisions that shocked everyone watching. And before we get into the latest breaking updates, make sure you're subscribed, hit that like button, and don't forget the bell icon, because we drop Chargers news the moment it happens. Right from the opening series, the Chargers looked overwhelmed. The coaching staff didn't wait until halftime, didn't wait for adjustments, didn't wait for cooler heads, they started reshuffling pieces in the middle of the action. That alone tells you how chaotic things were. Their offensive line was falling apart snap after snap, and suddenly you see Trevor Penning step in. A fresh face, but a rough start. One misaligned formation, one blown assignment, and Justin Herbert paid the price instantly. A play that shouldn't have mattered turned into a moment that did, fast. And just like that, Penning was out. The rotation started. And even the quarterback spot wasn't immune to changes. It was the kind of meltdown that feels like it lasted 4 quarters, even though it really began in the first few minutes. But here's the strange twist, none of this was surprising. Anyone who's been watching this team closely saw the warning signs building. No bye week yet. Injury after injury. An offensive line that's been patched together week after week. A cross-country road game against a Jaguars team desperate to bounce back. It wasn't just a bad setup, it was practically a blueprint for disaster. So now the Chargers head into the bye week with bruises everywhere, physically and mentally, but also with clarity. The problems are obvious. The fixes won't be easy. But escaping this game and moving forward is the only option they have, and trust me, the next updates coming out of Los Angeles are only getting bigger. So stay with me. The Chargers couldn't have picked a tougher moment to limp into their bye week. Everything that unfolded on that field pointed to a single, painful truth: this offensive line is crumbling, and everyone can see it. Week after week, the hope was the same: maybe this unit could hold together just long enough. Maybe Justin Herbert's talent could mask the issues. Maybe Penning settling in, maybe Mekhi Becton returning, maybe. But reality doesn't care about maybes, and it showed up loud in this game. 2 starting tackles gone for the year. A replacement who's struggling. Another who barely knows the system. It's the kind of situation where you can feel the frustration building, even before the first quarter ends. And what makes it all sting even more is the expectation, because Jim Harbaugh has always been known for one signature strength: building dominant offensive lines. Lines that bully teams. Lines that set the tone. Lines that let an offense breathe. When Harbaugh arrives, that's what you think you're getting. But right now? The foundation he usually builds on looks shaky. The center play is rough. The edges are patchwork. Nothing feels stable. And fans are left asking how a Harbaugh team can look this disconnected up front. It's strange, because this moment almost echoes his early days at Michigan, when he tried to reshape the offense, adapt, modernize, and force things to work before the pieces were truly ready. The difference now is that the pressure in the NFL hits harder, and it hits immediately. Back when Harbaugh first arrived at Michigan, college football was speeding into a new era. Spread formations everywhere, no-huddle attacks, turbo-tempo offenses. Teams like Oregon under Chip Kelly were snapping the ball before defenses could even breathe. Even Nick Saban was adjusting, which meant everyone else was expected to keep up. Harbaugh tried to lean into that movement. He experimented. He pushed the pace. He tried to stretch the field like everyone else. But eventually, he made a decision that changed everything. He went back to the identity that built his reputation in the first place. Power football. A ruthless offensive line. A defense that smothered everything in its path. And once he returned to his roots, Michigan exploded, 4 straight Big Ten titles, multiple playoff runs, a national championship, and dominance over Ohio State. It all began with a line that controlled every inch of the field. That's why what we're seeing with the Chargers feels so strange. This past draft leaned heavily toward skill players: Hampton, Gatson, a wide receiver. Exciting, yes. Unexpected, absolutely. And at the time, people praised the boldness. They loved the idea of adding weapons around Herbert. They assumed the trenches would work themselves out. But looking back now, it's impossible not to see the flaw. The interior line already had cracks. The center position was a known weakness. The depth wasn't sturdy. And the decision to sign Mekhi Becton on a friendly deal raised quiet questions. Why would a contender like Philadelphia let him go for that price? Hindsight hits harder than any pass rush, and suddenly all the clues feel obvious. The issues were there. The warning signs were there. And now the consequences are showing up every Sunday. The questions around Mekhi Becton were loud long before he put on a Chargers jersey. When a franchise like Philadelphia lets a lineman walk without fighting to keep him, it makes you pause. If he were truly a cornerstone piece, the Eagles would have locked him down with top-tier money. Instead, the door quietly swung open, and the Chargers stepped in. That alone felt like a warning. And now it feels inevitable that Harbaugh will shift back to the foundation he's always trusted: dominating the trenches. Rebuilding the offensive line isn't optional anymore, it's mandatory. The frustrating part is that they're already playing catch-up. 2 drafts have come and gone without fully addressing the interior. To Harbaugh's credit, Joe Alt was a home run selection. When he returns and pairs with Rashawn Slater, the Chargers will have bookend tackles any team would envy. But the middle of the line? That's where the real work begins. Whether it's free agency, trades, or draft capital, the interior has to be rebuilt from the ground up. Still, this season isn't over. The damage looks severe, but none of it blindsided anyone who's been paying attention. The bye week arrives at the right moment, a chance to reset, breathe, and refocus. Everything changes after Thanksgiving anyway. That's when teams show who they truly are. The next stretch is simple: handle the Raiders. Handle the Cowboys. If the Chargers can't clear those hurdles, then the picture becomes clear. But win them? And suddenly the playoffs are still right there within reach. The long-term concerns are real, but the season itself isn't doomed, not yet. The offensive line may be the biggest obstacle, but the road ahead still offers a path forward if this team can steady itself and fight back. Games like this don't collapse all at once, they unravel piece by piece. One mistake turns into 2, momentum slips, and suddenly the entire thing is rolling downhill faster than anyone can stop it. That's how blowouts happen. And that's exactly what this game felt like. When an offense loses control of the line of scrimmage, everything else breaks with it. You can't sustain drives. You can't protect your quarterback. The defense gets dragged back onto the field again and again until they're running on fumes. Add in turnovers, short fields, and pressure piling up, and the scoreboard starts to tell a story that feels impossible to reverse. Just look around the league. You watch a matchup like Giants versus Packers and wonder how it's competitive. But New York is running the ball with purpose. Even when the quarterback struggles, even when the passing game sputters, a strong run game keeps a team breathing. It protects the quarterback, controls the pace, and keeps the defense honest. That's the part the Chargers are missing. Everyone knows the root of the issue. There's no mystery here. A team can't function without strength up front, and rebuilding that doesn't happen overnight. Credit where it's due, drafting Joe Alt was a crucial first step when many doubted the direction. But one pillar isn't enough. More draft picks, more free agents, more investment, it all has to happen. But even with all that said, this season isn't closed. The bye week comes at a perfect time, and the team can reset, regroup, and get back to work. The long-term rebuild is real, but the short-term fight is still alive. And whether fans like it or not, change is already in motion.